It doesn't matter how many you have if you can't hook them up. You've got to get all four wheels scratching in the dirt because, believe me, it is a tough, bumpy track at the Macon County Fairgrounds. Now, when I think of a good pulling truck, this is what goes through my head. A 1-ton, maybe a 3/4. You got four-wheel drive, got your bed liner, and even a toolbox in the back. But that's not what we're talking about today. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephen Cox. We welcome you to the Show Me Showdown. It's the next stop on the Lucas Oil Champions Tour here in Macon, Missouri. What have we got today? The Mudslingers. 1,500 horsepower, 10,000 RPM, because coming up next, it's the Pro Mod 4x4s. Lisa Tatum and Doc Riley will have the tough job. They'll be running up and down pit road all night long, chasing down stories for us. But our expert analyst, Rick Carlson, gets to kick back in the booth with me and watch Leanne Tormolian, who really doesn't have a lot of experience in this sport personally, but her family sure does.
Right. Her dad, Tommy, has been an engine builder and been just a stalwart in the sport. Leanne has grown up around it. This is her second year full-time on the circuit. She drives Charm. And remember, unlimited cubic inches, methanol 4x4. And I mean, those are big engines, some over 800 cubic inches, and all four tires should be digging in. Here comes Leanne.
300 feet will be a full pull. It's the traditional 300-foot mark. You want all four of those tires grabbing the dirt as best you can, and Leanne churns out 289 out of that 300-foot mark.
As we watch the rest of the trucks, we'll see how that marked. It looked like a good run. We'll see how everybody else does to know for sure, as now Charles Hines and Running Wild, the Texan, comes out. He looks straight to that end, but that rough track bouncing a little bit. That may slow him down. You
really lose bite toward the end. Still, that's good enough to take the lead, though. Charles turns in a 291.18.
Dave Bamber from Bolivar, Missouri, the Bamber Hemi. This is one of the first Hemis we're going to see come out. It's a Ford, and it has the area-style Hemi in it. Methanol, over 700-plus cubic inches. Experience all that along with a gorgeous machine. Put some smoke underneath.
Smoke to be concerned about, but look at all that weight up on the front end. You've got to get those front tires to work and to hook up. And Dave does, but not quite enough. 285 feet, just a bit short of that. Dave Bamber is done. Steve Clem is up next.
Radical, Versailles, Indiana. Now, Charles Hines at 291 is our leader. Radical, this is a wild machine. It will bounce, it will do everything, go different directions. Now just straight down the track, easing into the throttle. The front tire's kicking up mud, the rear tire's kicking up mud. A lot of weight out of front, like a rock, but look at that body bounce around.
And Steve did a good job. 293.05. He is our new leader. He did a great job, though, Rick, getting into the throttle slowly and letting all four tires bite before he really hit it hard.
Pat Paul out next in Cyclone. Brand new truck body. It looks like it's either red or it's orange, depending on how the light shines on it. He's from Canton, Georgia, Texas, Missouri, Indiana, Iowa. Stephen, they're from all over here in Macon.
It looks naked, doesn't it? You take a look at it and you think, well, gee whiz, at least put the headlights on. But that's a hard-working driver when he gets his truck ready at the very last minute and doesn't even have time to finish the decals yet.
He's pulling down there. It looked okay. Then the sled got heavy, and he was all over the spot. 290 feet, put him up in the top 4 or 5, but no, not enough for the lead.
And from a brand spanking new truck, we go into a time warp. What's this go back to? The mid-'80s, maybe?
That's it. Dean Christensen driving red hot from Cumberland, Iowa. This still has the stock frame under it for the most part. They've done some changes. We just saw Pat Paul with the new truck, the new body, all the glass. There's a lot of metal in this machine, but it's a good-looking pull for red hot. That's as strong as we've seen that machine in quite a while. Look at that, 291.73 feet, good enough for the number 2 position.
A nice long wheelbase on that machine as well. Dean Christensen behind Steve Clem now at 293.05. More competitors in this class when we come back to the Macon County Fairgrounds in Missouri. Opportunity to sit down and talk with our own Doc Riley earlier today. Let's check in with Doc.
In the highly competitive 4x4 class, this guy kind of stands alone from time to time. Jim, how many years you been pulling?
Well, we've been doing this for 25 years already.
Why stay with it?
Well, because it's a lot of fun, and I got a younger son that's getting into it named Daniel, and he's been driving a lot. But on the national circuit here in the Lucas Oil Series, I've been doing the driving.
What keeps you coming back? I mean, you say fun, there's a lot of good people around, but, you know, is it the thrill in the seat, the challenge every night to read the track? What exactly kind of makes it all happen?
It's a thrill in the seat, driving, and the competition. It's just, I got a competition bug in me.
Let's get to the nuts and bolts. What about the truck?
Well, this is a 04 Chevy here, 650 cubic inch, naturally aspirated on alcohol. We push out about 1,300 horse in it, and we run about a 20-to-1 gear ratio out of it with 34/18 tractor-type tires on it.
I think I know, Doc, what keeps him coming back for so many years. After a quarter of a century, you've got so much money in it, you can't quit.
You have to keep coming back and follow your money somewhere. Midnight Raider. Now, we had a close look at that 650 cubic inch Chevrolet engine. Those aren't carburetors. Those are fuel injectors on the top. And Jim Bosch going to the right, now back to the left at 298. That's good enough for the lead.
He knocks him off. Steve Klim was at 293.05, and that was really a good pull. We had only had two other competitors over the 291 mark, and he comes in and knocks this one out.
The General Tire replay, you saw him ease into the throttle. Everything was rolling. Then when he stopped on the throttle, it started shooting the mud up, throwing it off all four tires. A little crooked at the end, but still good enough for the leader at this point.
And again, if nobody goes 300 feet, then hey, we'll take whoever can go the farthest. And Jake Zaring has a chance to do it next out of Fillmore, Indiana.
Jake, one of the characters that's out here, you can see clear out at the front. That looks like the bottom side of one of those Dixie choppers with the blades on it. The world's fastest lawnmower. He'd like that fastest lawnmower to lead the longest pull on his Dodge Dakota truck. Crazy Jake coming out the Dixie chopper machine. Earlier we saw some bouncing, and we're seeing it again. Jake then has to double clutch in the throttle, back out of it, back in it, and I don't know how it's going to affect his pull.
Will did a great job recovering from that early in his run, but by that time, the Ironman had moved the sled forward so far that the weight just killed him, so he pulls up short at 293. That would have been good enough for the lead, not now.
Jake Zaring was in second spot. Now Ken Samet from Cooperstown, Illinois. Illinois Thunder. This is one of the older trucks, but it's still very, very strong. You can see him. It looks good. He was going to the right. Comes over a little bit, but he's in some of that loose stuff, and more mud spitting up in a shorter distance. 289, not going to help.
Randy Nelson is up next on a family affair out of Jacksonville, Illinois. He is looking to top 298.36 feet. That run belongs to Jim Bosch, and he is our leader at the moment.
You just saw a shot of Randy with his hands up in the air. That lets the hooker know that he has nothing on the throttle. It's okay to hook the truck up. And now he's got the sled. It's hooked. The family affair going to the right again, like we've seen. He pulls it back over, but 291, not enough.
You know, he made a lot out of that because the truck really started to get squirrely on him at the end of that run. But still, again, 291, not really close. We've had 4 or 5 drivers in that bracket right now. Danny Hunter is next on Knight Rider.
If you take a look out front, that looks like where the bumper would be. That's the weight box. It's the silver fuel tank above it, but you see little wheels down on the bottom of that weight box. That is as they go in and out of the Coliseum and the facility, they don't scrape. That will allow it to clear, and he can keep rolling. But rolling is what he needs to do instead of the bouncing. Danny Hunter, 273, way back in the pack.
And 5 competitors remain in the pro modified trucks. Cody Lewis and all fired up will be next when we return to Macon. It's the 20th annual Show Me Showdown presented by Generac. I'm Stephen Cox along with Lisa Tatum, Rick Carlson, and Doc Riley. We welcome you back. The weather is absolutely perfect. And first up, it's Cody Lewis.
Cody Lewis all fired up. Macon, Missouri, the local racer. He is experienced. He's a crowd favorite. He's easy to talk to, and he's also one of the toughest pullers on the circuit. Look at that machine. Not a problem at all. Straight down there, no bouncing, no mud, and our first full pull.
And you hear it from the crowd over that one, Rick. He needed 298.3 feet, and he got much, much more with a very nice run. You know, Cody has finished at this particular event very, very well in the past, and he knows this track.
You just look at this, and if you were going to rank how you drove for a perfect run. This would be at Cody Lewis, just as straight as it could be. He eased into it, a little bit of mud. He's staying up on top of the track and all the good things until he has to shut it down.
Let's check in with Lisa Tatum now. She has our Lucas Oil Pullers Profile.
I'm here with the Hunters, and they're a new addition to the family. Now, Brad, I know this isn't what you were driving last year, and I know that you haven't always owned this truck, so how'd you come about acquiring the My Little Mule?
Well, I was just talking to a friend on the phone back early February, and I was thinking about putting another truck together to run just full with the motor. And he said, well, let me just sell you my truck. And we just kept talking. I ended up buying it, so we put Dad back in the truck I'd been driving. And so he'd have a truck to run on the national level this year.
And speaking of that, now Danny's back driving full time. How you liking that, Dad?
I like this. It's a lot different than sitting watching.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I know for a couple of years you all weren't debuting two trucks out. So do you think it's advantageous to have more than one out there on the track, to have two chances?
Well, it could be two headaches, but two chances is better than none.
Like the old saying goes, don't worry about the mule boys, just load the wagon.
Well, see, Lisa, Brad made a fatal mistake. He got on the telephone and talked with a good friend about a machine with a motor in it. That is an expensive, expensive habit.
An expensive phone call, because look what he ended up with. My Little Mule, and this is unique, fiberglass bodied machine, how everything's set. It's on the chassis. The rear end looks like it's down a little bit. It's a forward or a front rate. As soon as he starts pulling, it's going to drop down, and it looks also, with the altered wheelbase, like it's got a short bed on the back of it.
It looks to me like, however, the suspension on this machine is absorbing the bumps much, much better. You see the body moving, but not the rest of the machine. Now, 297.2 is not going to take the lead, but that was a good run.
It did all the things right except go that last 3+ feet. And now, we saw Leanne earlier, now it's Dad. Here's Tom Tremolian at Spellbound. Look at the paintwork on this machine, all the way from the weight box up front to the side of the truck, and it runs just as good as it looks.
He needs 302.32 feet to take the lead. He doesn't do it, but that's good enough. That puts Tom in the pull-off.
Now we have two trucks in the pull-off. General Tire replay. Heads up, we can just take a look at the way Tom drives. He's taking it easy. You can see the tire just barely rolling. Now we get a little bit of mud coming up as he goes full throttle. The head goes down.
And you see those weights way out past each front tire. Normally you wouldn't want that unsprung weight on, say, a race car or something, but you sure do here, because it allows him to dig in, and Tom gets those front tires working and turns in a nice run worthy of a pull-off.
We know that it's going to be Cody and Tom, and now it will be Robert Jackson. Bad attitude. He's going to have to improve that attitude if he wants to get into the pull-off. Of course, if you go over 300 feet, anybody's attitude is going to be better. This black truck, all set. He wanted the RPM just right. He's leaving. He's rolling. Now he gets into the throttle.
And are these hand throttles as well, like we saw earlier?
Yes, we still have hand throttles, one hand on the wheel, one on the throttle, and feet on brakes for each side is how this works. 298 feet, a little bit short, but not a bad pass.
This is truly a game of inches. He pulls up just over a foot short, and Robert Jackson's night is over, and that means Pat Paul is the last guy with an opportunity to work his way into what is now a two-way pull-off.
The Kent, Georgia base Ford of Pat Paul, one of the earlier designed trucks, long wheelbase. If he can keep it from bouncing, he has a chance to get into that pull-off. Well, it settles down and not able to make it. 298, close, but not a cigar.
Well, Tom Tremolian and Cody Lewis have to be breathing a sigh of relief because they only have to face each other. It goes through your head when it all comes down to a two-way pull-off. It's just you and the other guy.
Well, you hope you make the right decisions. You know there's more weight on the sled. You know it's going to get up on your bumper a lot faster. So you just try and take off easy, go straight, and hope you have enough power to overcome. You may have changed the weight or gear ratio. I don't think Tom changed a thing. It bounced a lot when he got to the far end, 295. Good pull. Will it be enough? We're going to have to find out.
I want to take another look at this, Rick, and here's why. In just a moment, we're going to see the wheel spin increase drastically because Tom came up and nailed the throttle just about here.
And you see it's straight. It's trying to move the wheel just a little bit, but it looks good. There's not the bouncing until that point right there. When the weight got over the rear axle, it bounced, and that's what stopped him short of the 300-foot mark.
Cody Lewis knows exactly what he has to do to walk away with the trophy and a check tonight. 295.43 feet will do it, and Cody Lewis on all fired up as the last guy.
The local racer, the crowd favorite, would love to pick up another win here at home. He's always strong in Macon. Is he getting far enough down the course? Yes, he is. 303.74 feet.
Cody's going to unstrap the helmet and get out of that thing. In the meantime, we're going to look at it again and walk me through this championship run, Rick.
Easing into the throttle is Cody Lewis. You could sit and look at the tires. Now a little bit of mud being thrown. He's at full throttle. It looks straight. He's able to steer a little bit, but not enough to lose momentum. Right down the center of the course, the weight comes up. The back of the truck drops down and down and down, and that's how you win.
And he kept the sled straight behind him the entire time, and now he's standing by with Doc Riley.
Well, you know something? There's nothing better than winning an event at home. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. That was the best we could do. I won't tell any stories there. That was all we had. I thought it was all we had the first time, and at least we put a bigger distance on the second time, so we couldn't be happier.
You know, is there any, and this may be an unfair question, but is there any advantage to a hometown pull-in? I mean, you don't come out here and obviously practice on the track. Is there any advantage?
Probably a disadvantage because you're nervous because you're home. So we're tickled to death.
You know, it's got to feel good winning here at home, but you got an awful lot of guys that and ladies that behind you that kind of help out a little bit too.
Oh, absolutely. My crew made the decisions down there because I think at one point I just got too nervous to make them. So, but we did well.
It's always good to have that second set of eyes, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
What about the young one here, the youngest member of the pit crew? Maybe a puller in the future?
Well, Crew's over there. He pokes the track with me and checks the track each time we go pulling. And Gage here, he's 2, and he just loves the tractors. I think he's prejudiced against my truck.
Well, you know, he's still got a little learning to do.
There you go.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I do think he's concerned about the decibel level, though. Did you see those headphones on him to keep the sound out?
Well, that's a good thing because you have to be careful of your hearing in a sport like this.
Congratulations to Cody Lewis and the whole gang. 303.74 puts him on top of Tom Tomolian and the rest of the gang.